There is one deficiency so common in India that doctors call it a silent epidemic, and there is a very good chance you have it right now. We are talking about vitamin D, and before you scroll past thinking you already know about this, hear us out, because the way this deficiency actually shows up in your body is nothing like what most people expect. It does not announce itself, it does not give you one clear symptom you can point to. It just quietly makes everything harder: your energy, your focus, your mood, your immunity, your sleep. All of it gets subtly worse, and you end up blaming your schedule, your stress, or just getting older. Over 70% of Indians are vitamin D deficient. That is not a small number. That is most of the country. And the reason it stays undetected for so long is that the symptoms feel so normal that people stop questioning them. So let us go through what actually is happening in your body when your vitamin D is low. The first thing is fatigue that sleep does not fix. You sleep 7 hours and still wake up tired. You get through the morning on coffee, and by mid-afternoon you are running on empty again. Most people put this down to a busy life or not sleeping well enough. But vitamin D plays a direct role in mitochondrial function. Your mitochondria are the energy factories inside every single cell in your body. When vitamin D is low, those factories are not running at full capacity. Your cells are producing less energy than they should be, and no amount of sleep or caffeine fixes something that is happening at a cellular level. This is chronic fatigue that has a very specific biological cause, and it is one of the most commonly missed ones in clinical practice in India. The second thing is that heavy, tired feeling in your legs. A lot of people describe it as struggling to walk for long without their legs feeling fatigued. A lot of people describe it as struggling to walk for long without their legs feeling fatigued. Climbing stairs feels like more effort than it should be. Physical activity feels harder than it used to be, and the recovery after feels slower. Vitamin D is essential for muscle function. It is directly involved in how muscles contract, how fast they recover, and how much force they can generate. When levels are low, muscles fatigue faster and recover more slowly. This is especially common in people who spend most of their day indoors, which describes the majority of working professionals in Indian cities. If you have been quietly avoiding physical activity because your body just does not feel capable of it the way it used to, it is worth paying attention to. The third thing is brain fog and concentration problem. You sit down to work and your focus is just not there. You reread the same email, you lose your chain of thought mid-sentence. You feel mentally slower than you know you should be, and you cannot quite explain why. Vitamin D receptors are found throughout the brain, including in the areas responsible for memory, attention, and cognitive processing. Research has linked chronic vitamin D deficiency to impaired concentration, low mood, increased risk of depression, and in the long run, higher risk of cognitive decline. It is not a productivity problem. This is your brain operating without one of the key nutrients it needs to function properly. The fourth thing is getting sick more often than the people around you. Vitamin D is one of the most critical regulators of immune function. It directly activates the genes responsible for identifying and fighting off infections. When levels are low, your immune response is slower, weaker, and less precise. You pick up colds more easily, they take longer to clear, you feel run down for weeks after an illness that other people shake in a few days. If this is a pattern you recognize in yourself, it is not bad luck, it is biology. The fifth thing is bone and joint discomfort that you have been putting down to posture or aging. Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption. Without it, your body cannot properly use the calcium you consume, regardless of how much dairy or calcium-rich food you eat. Over the time, this leads to reduced bone density. In the early stages, it shows up as mild aching, joint stiffness, and a general feeling of physical discomfort that never quite goes away. Most people assume it is from sitting too much or from getting older. Often it is vitamin D. Now here is the question most people ask at this this point. How can so many Indians be deficient in vitamin D when India gets so much sun? The answer is lifestyle. Most urban professionals spend the majority of their waking hours indoors. When they do go outside, it is often early morning when UV levels are too low for vitamin D synthesis, or they are covered up, or they are in a city like Delhi where air pollution filters out a significant portion of the UV rays needed for production. Darker skin tones also require considerably more sun exposure than lighter skin to synthesize the same amount of vitamin D. So the sun is there, your body is just not getting meaningful access to it. How do you fix it? Start with a blood test. A 25OH vitamin D test tells you exactly where you stand. Optimal levels are between 40 and 60 nanogram per milliliter. Most Indians who get tested come back below 20, which is classified as clinically deficient. Supplementation with vitamin D3 combined with vitamin K2 is the most effective correction. K2 is important because it ensures that the vitamin D directs calcium to your bones and not to your arteries. Dosage should be based on your actual blood levels and guided by a doctor. Midday sun exposure between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. with arms and legs exposed. So 15 to 30 minutes midday sun exposure between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. with the arms and legs exposed for 15 to 30 minutes does contribute meaningfully to vitamin D synthesis. Early morning sun unfortunately does not produce enough UV to make a significant difference, so timing matters. Dietary sources like fatty fish, egg yolk, and fortified foods contribute modestly but are almost never enough on their own to correct a significant deficiency. The reason this matters beyond just feeling better day to day is that vitamin D deficiency is not just a quality of life issue. Chronically low levels are associated with increased cardiovascular risk, higher rates of autoimmune disease, impaired insulin sensitivity, and accelerated biological aging. This is a foundational marker. It affects almost every system in the body, and it is one of the simplest things in medicine to test and to fix. If you have been feeling tired, foggy, physically weaker than you should be, or getting ill more frequently than the people around you, start with a vitamin D test. It is a 10-minute blood draw. The result might explain a lot of things you have been wondering about for a long time, because the most expensive health problems are the ones nobody caught early enough to prevent, and this one is entirely preventable.